How's it going, YouTube? In this episode with my 650, we are fixing an issue that has been bugging me since the first day that I got it, and that is the headlight lenses. Now, these headlight lenses that you see here, we've already tried to fix them up once. We tried polishing them and clearing them. Unfortunately, the clear didn't really stick that well, and so we ended up just polishing them as best as we could and leaving them exposed. And that's why you see this sort of oxidized effect that looks really ugly on the top here. And that being said, I know how these headlights look when they're polished, and honestly, it's not that great. The lens is not that clear, and that's unfortunately due to some micro cracking that's in the plastic itself. And when you have micro cracking like this, there's not really all that much that you can do in terms of polishing or repairing it. It's just a matter of either A, replacing the headlight, or B, replacing the headlight lens. In my case, it's a lot cheaper to just replace the lens, so I'm going to put up with the hassle of all of this just to replace that part. So while we still have some light and the temperatures aren't too cool, we're going to get cracking on this, and we're going to start by taking the front bumper cover off. And just like that, we've got the whole front bumper off the 650. As you can also probably notice, we're missing a couple pieces, the foam crash bumpers, and also this is still not the M Sport piece that I'm supposed to have. I did order those pieces, so I have them in the trunk. We're gonna get those done. We're also at the same time gonna take care of this sensor here, which is causing me a drivetrain or active cruise control error. We got our work cut out for us, but to start, I think we're gonna take care of these headlights. Alrighty, so off camera, we have managed to take off the left side headlight. I figured that this headlight would be a little bit harder to film anyways, plus I need to charge up my equipment for filming, so I took it off. The first 3 screws, not too bad. You've got one there, one over here, nice and obvious. There is a third one there, as you can see, but the last one, oh boy, the last one is a real treat. It's back there. And then, of course, you've got the final plug over here when you're removing it. So now I'm going to show you the process of me doing that on this headlight here. So you know what they say, start with the easy screws, then go to the hard ones. And now for the last one. So for this, we're gonna lift the car up off the ground and we're gonna get cracking at it. It's behind this little heat sink right there, to the left of it. So you gotta go behind this crash bar here and wedge your finger over there. I like to stick my hand over here and that kind of gives me a little bit more maneuverability. It lets me feel where the screw is, and then with this tiny little wrench over here I just turn. So that's the way to do it. And now we're in this position. As you can see, we're no longer in the groove, and you can just easily access the plug. You squeeze here, pull it apart, and then pull the light away. Okay. Unplugged, and just pull it out, and that's it. You've got yourself a car with no eyes. And now the part that we've all been waiting for. Installing the eBay headlight lenses. It seems like a very high quality product overall that very closely replicates the original lenses. The only difference that I could really tell was that there were no engravings or numbers on the lens itself, but otherwise the shape of it and the pins and all that stuff, they were all very close, if not identical, to the original factory ones. I purchased these lenses actually 2 years ago. They've been sitting on the shelf waiting for me to get this done. I've been really lazy because I knew that this is not the easiest job. Some of the defects that you see on my lenses may not be the same that you'll get on yours. My lenses, for instance, they had drips on the underside. You won't really see that on the car, but it is something that I noticed. Otherwise, the clear that they used to seal the lens properly was very thick, so that it lasts a long time and doesn't start to get hazy. Don't forget to remove the 4 screws in each lens that fastens the lens to the housing itself. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting a battle and destroying your headlights. Now, actually getting the job done. This is not an easy job, just like anything that I really cover on my channel. It is very difficult to remove the lenses from the housing. The method that we found that works best is to cut the lens away, cut it pretty close, being careful not to cut too deep into the housing because obviously you can damage some parts. Once you remove the majority of the lens, then you can rip out the remaining pieces that are left in the housing. In order to do this, you need to use some heat, break it away little piece by little piece, and you're gonna end up mangling the housing. You have to get it pretty hot for the glue to let go. You are gonna deform your housing, particularly if you're not very careful with it and you're trying to be aggressive and fast, so take your time, get it done properly. 2 people really helps. 1 person can hold the actual housing itself while the other pulls away. Another important thing of note is to maintain extreme caution with cleanliness of the headlight. Do not get any dirt or water or anything like that inside while you're working on this stuff. It becomes very difficult to clean because you cannot touch anything inside there. Anything that you touch, particularly the chrome pieces, will just rub away, and then you're left with a non-reflective black surface, which is very obvious in your final result. Using compressed air to blow out the dust is a good idea, but again, be careful, don't touch anything. Don't blow too hard at the surfaces. Now that the groove in the headlight housing is clear from all the old lens and glue and all that stuff, and the actual housing itself is clear from dust and debris from cutting, we can now move on to preparing the housing for the new lens. Make sure that your lens is clean, doesn't have any smudges on the inside. And I particularly like to leave a plastic layer on the outside of the headlight so that when you're handling the lens, you don't smudge anything with the black urethane. That's going to be very obvious. You can still clean it with a bit of WD-40 and a rag, but ultimately it would be better if you didn't get smudges on there in the first place. When you're sandwiching them, make sure that you're not binding on any clips or anything like that, on any tabs, because sometimes you can think that you're in, but you're actually not. So make sure that that's all in, and then once you are, you're gonna start to notice that the holes for your screws line up. Screw them in one at a time, nice and gentle, not too much in, so you can still move it all around. And then once you're confident that you're fully seated all around, tighten the screws down fully. Once your first layer of urethane dries, you can also add a second layer on the outside just to confirm that there's no potential for leaks. The more urethane, the merrier. You just want to make sure that there's no chance of any leaks going through, because obviously the housing is now a little bit warped and all that stuff. So you want that extra bit of protection just to make sure it's all good. This we cannot quite remove just yet because this here is riveted in. So we need to drill this out. The other thing we're going to do, we're going to remove this guy here because we need to replace this. There's a little slide thing over here on this side. So you have to slide it this way to lock it in, and then that hole right there lines up. So here's the box that the 5-mile-an-hour bumpers come in, and that's them over there. Here's your middle one. Here are your side ones. You gotta figure out which one is which. This one actually says L on it, and this one says R, as you can see right there. So you've got a grip over here, grip here, and this one. So you gotta start from the outside, clip it in, and then work your way to the middle. That's basically it. I just want to finish off one little thing up front here, which I forgot when we retrofitted the M Sport bumper, and that is the bracket for the adaptive cruise control radar sensor. So here is the radar for the active cruise control. It sits right over here, and this one here is actually riveted in 3 spots. So these 2 spots here, and at the bottom there's a spot as well. This I actually took out before, and this was not riveted in after I retrofitted the M Sport bumper, and this remained the same. So just like with everything else with the M Sport, everything seems to be sitting a little bit further towards the car. So if you'll notice, the new one, the brackets actually, it comes in a bit more. The part number on this thing, I bought this brand new, it says it right here. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna transfer over we're going to take out these little T, I think 20 or 25 screws, remove those, transfer over the sensor to our new bracket, and then we're going to rivet this to the car. And then after that, we got to mount our foam bumper, and then we can start reinstalling everything else back onto the car. Alrighty, so we're finally mounted up on all 3 rivets. As you can see down here, we got the 3rd one. This is very nice and rigid. It's not really going anywhere. The biggest problem with this was the fact that I had too small of a rivet for the size of the bumper. So I needed to get creative with some washers, but eventually I made it work, so that's good now. Now we can finally move on to doing the headlights.